You saved $50,000. That is a big deal, and most people have no idea what to do next. The wrong move here doesn't just waste your money, it sets you back years. So before you touch a single dollar of it, watch this. Today we're going to walk through exactly what to do after saving $50,000, step by step, in the right order, because order matters more than most people think. By the end of this video, you'll know how to protect that money, grow it, and avoid the mistakes that wipe out beginners before they even get started. If you're new here, Finance Foresight breaks down money in a way that actually makes sense. Hit subscribe so you don't miss what's coming. Define your money before your money defines you. Here's the first mistake most people make with a large sum. They treat it as one big pile and make one big decision. That almost never works out. $50,000 needs a job description before it goes anywhere. Sit down and split that money into buckets based on what you actually need it to do. This is called intentional allocation. It sounds technical, but the idea is simple. You decide on purpose, not by accident. Here's an example of how 3 different people split the same $50,000 differently. Person A is 25 years old with no major expenses coming. They put $40,000 into long-term investments and $10,000 into a short-term opportunity fund for skills, courses, or a small business idea they want to test. Person B is 35 with children. They put $30,000 into long-term investments, $10,000 toward a home deposit, and $10,000 into education savings for their kids. Person C is starting a side business. They put $20,000 into investments and $30,000 into the business with a clear plan and timeline. Same amount, 3 completely different strategies, all of them correct for that person's situation. The worst thing you do with $50,000 is make a random decision based on what someone else did. Your money needs to match your life. Before investing anything, write down what you want your money to do in the next 1 year, 5 years, and 10 years. Then allocate based on those answers. Clear high-interest debt first. Here's something most people skip, and it costs them. Do you have any debt right now? Credit card balances, personal loans, anything charging you more than 10% interest per year? If yes, pay that off before you invest. Here's the logic in plain numbers. A credit card charging you 20% interest per year is costing you money every single month. The stock market, on a good year, returns around 10% on average. You cannot outinvest 20% interest. The debt wins every time. Paying off a debt that charges 20% is the same as earning a guaranteed 20% return. No investment gives you that guarantee. So if you have $5,000 on a credit card at 20% interest, clear that first, then invest what's left. Low-interest debt like a student loan or mortgage at 4 to 5% is different, that you manage normally while investing. The line is roughly 8%. Above that, pay it off first. List every debt you have and its interest rate. Clear anything above 8% before you start investing. Now understand what you're actually investing for. Most beginners skip straight to what should I buy, but the better question is, what am I investing for? Your goal changes everything: the timeline, the risk, the type of investment. Let's break this into 3 common goals. Goal 1, building long-term wealth over 10 or more years. This is retirement or financial independence. Here, time is your biggest advantage. You invest in diversified assets like index funds and let compound growth do the work. We'll explain index funds in a moment. Goal 2, a medium-term purchase in 3 to 7 years. A home deposit, starting a business, funding education. Here you want growth, but with less risk. A mix of stocks and more stable assets works better. Goal 3, something you need in under 3 years. Keep this money out of the stock market entirely. Markets are unpredictable in the short term. A high-yield savings account or a money market fund is safer for this. Most people investing $50,000 have a mix of goals. That's fine. Split the money according to each goal and treat each portion separately. Write down your financial goals and the timeline for each before you decide where to put a single dollar. Where to actually put the money. Now to the part everyone wants. Where does the money go? For a beginner with $50,000 and a long-term goal, index funds are the most recommended starting point. An index fund is a simple investment that tracks a large group of companies. Instead of picking one stock and hoping it grows, you own a small piece of hundreds of companies at once. For example, an S&P 500 index fund tracks the 500 largest companies in the United States. Historically, it has returned an average of about 10% per year over the long term. That means $50,000 left alone for 20 years at 10% grows to roughly $336,000. You didn't pick stocks. You didn't watch the market every day. You just stayed consistent. Platforms like Fidelity, Vanguard, or local investment apps in your country make this accessible with low fees. Real estate is another option if your market allows entry at that level, but it requires more knowledge, more management, and more capital, not the best first step for a complete beginner. Avoid putting all $50,000 into a single stock, a hot tip from a friend, or any investment promising unusually high returns in a short time. If it sounds too good, it usually is. For most beginners, a low-cost index fund tracking a broad market is the simplest and most proven starting point. The step nobody talks about: keep saving after you invest. Here's what separates people who build real wealth from those who stagnate. They don't stop saving after they invest. $50,000 is a strong foundation, but the people who reach genuine financial freedom are the ones who keep adding to their investments consistently every single month, regardless of what the market is doing. This is called dollar-cost averaging. It means you invest a fixed amount regularly. Some months you buy when prices are high, some months you buy when prices are low. Over time, it balances out, and it removes the temptation to time the market, which even professionals get wrong consistently. If you invest $500 every month into an index fund, earning 10% annually in 20 years, that monthly habit alone adds over $340,000 on top of your initial investment. The $50,000 starts the engine. The monthly habit keeps it running. Set a fixed monthly amount to add to your investments after your initial deposit. Consistency over time builds more wealth than any single large move. Let's bring it together. Today you learned 3 things. 1. Allocate your $50,000 with intention. Match your money to your actual life goals before making any move. 2. Clear high-interest debt above 8% first. You cannot out-invest expensive debt. 3. Index funds are the simplest starting point, and monthly contributions after your initial investment are what build real, long-term wealth. You've done the hard part. You saved $50,000. Now you need to know how to keep growing it, how to avoid the tax mistakes most new investors make, and how to think about risk without losing sleep. That's exactly what Finance Foresight covers. Subscribe now so you get that knowledge before you need it, not after a costly mistake. $50,000 invested well is a beginning. The question is what happens in the next 5 years if you stay consistent, and we're going to cover exactly that.